Welcome back, Stephanie. Thank you for joining me, Knicks and
Of
Bruises.
course.
Another episode. Well, not really episode. I guess these are more like talking points and things
Hmm.
of that nature. So I was ready to come in here and without giving away much to your show coming up. Stay tuned for
Oh,
that at 8. I was ready to talk about the Knicks moving up and possibly grabbing Bledsoe and that 10th pick and giving up the 21st pick, and then having some talks about any other possible ways we could move up in the draft.
sounds
So that being said, Bledsoe is obviously off the table. We know that 10th pick is off the table. So my question really is, who else is out there that we could potentially move up with? What do you think it'll cost for us to move up? And yeah, I mean, talk
yeah.
about that, and then we'll get into some of this Olympic talk.
I mean, I'm not sure who the Knicks would be targeting. If we moved up, I would prefer we stay put and pick at 19 and 21. I don't really see unless they're gonna get into like the top five, top seven. You could get probably as good a player at 19 as 21 as you're going to get at 15 and 14, right? I don't think there's a clear um I think those guys are pretty much in similar tiers except for that top tier of players. So I would prefer that they just stay pick 19, 21. That gives us two chances to get two really good players that can help us. Um I think that Duarte, who I like, is moving up. He may not be there at 19. And I heard that the Knicks, had some interest in him. I'm not sure I'm not even sure who their move up target is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm trying to think for me, if I'm gonna move up, I guess Moody. I like Moody, but can you say with certainty that the drop between where Moody is going to be drafted, say he's drafted 10,
Mm-hmm.
and who you get at 19 and 21, that there's going to be a clear drop off? I don't really see that in this draft. I think they're going to be players in the second round who are going to do well in this league. For me, I feel like it's pretty deep. So I would prefer they stay put. If they do go up and they get Moody, I like Moody. I would be okay. You want to impress me, throw some players in there and go up and get Scotty Barnes,
Okay.
Um, and a lot of guys who I thought would be in the 1921 range, they're moving up. I saw, like I said, Duarte. I saw marked higher. I saw Murphy marked higher. So if these guys are going up, that means some of those guys are going to drop. If
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Johnson dropped, I'll be happy. I've seen drafts where Giddy dropped. I've seen drafts where even Kispert dropped. I would be happy.
With any of those
With
guys
any
at
of those if
19.
they dropped. Yeah, yeah,
Okay. I'm with you. As far as the target and is it worth moving up for, and Moody is definitely on that list
right.
of guys that I would move up for. The fact that they're talking about Diorte moving up, I think I would move up for him as well. Um, Even though my my thoughts on him change hourly, daily. Um,
I
but
have some players like that too.
but I do know at the very least he can come in and give us something that we need
Right,
immediately.
right,
And he should be able to do that for the duration of his contract and career. Um,
right.
and some other things I like about him. I'm a fan of the troubled background, and overcoming that adversity
Absolutely,
and things of that nature.
absolutely.
It makes basketball small on the spectrum of life.
Right,
So I always root for guys like that. I believe that that's an internal chip on their shoulder. That's something that doesn't just go away um with some money or with some success. That's
Right.
something that sticks with you for your life.
And not just that, those players tend to not be phased because they went through tough times. They know what tough times are.
Yeah.
Iverson would say that all the time. People say, "You was nervous about what?"
It,
Based on what he went through, this was nothing.
that's a fact.
So I think that's gonna help them as well. They tend to be tougher, rougher. Been through it, and so not phased really for the most
So,
part.
salute. Cut kicks and nicks. Salute, salute. Appreciate you joining in. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, I agree. It's like it ultimately becomes just basketball
Correct.
when life is much bigger than that, and that takes away pressures. That takes away, like you said, nervousness. It's actually, instead of basketball being your life, basketball could be your escape. And depending on the person, that could be a big a big change in the direction that takes in your
Right.
career.
Right.
Eddie C, salute. Appreciate you joining in.
Salute, Eddie C.
I'll see you tomorrow night for sure. Um, yeah, it's it's interesting. It's interesting. Let me take a look at the draft order real quick and see if there's any other guys or any people that we can potentially move up for. Um, the first thing that stands out is probably Golden State. They got the 7th and the 14th pick. Um, I don't see them necessarily using both of them.
No.
If either one of them. And if they do, they're more in the position. They're gonna be thinking the same thing we are, but
Mhm.
more so for them because they're already in a better contention situation. But they're gonna want somebody that can contribute immediately.
Right.
And there falls Dorte again. And Moody, if
Right.
if you feel comfortable with him at the 7th pick. So
Right.
um
Yeah.
so
I mean, I think, you make a good point. Golden State is kind of in a similar position that we are in. I think they're looking for players that can contribute now, to help them. And they got these top picks because of the injuries, right? So that kind
mhm.
of got them into the lottery, but their mindset is not one of a usual lottery team, right? I think they think that they can still compete. Clay is coming back. Steph is still playing well. How can they take these draft picks? I heard even Wiseman and turn them into a player, that can help them now. So you're right. I think whoever we looking at, we gotta hope they get past Golden State. If they do draft it. I think if they trade it, that bodes well for us because whoever they traded to probably maybe looking for players with more upside.
well I mean, again, I agree. I agree, but I think there's always maneuverability. There's always ways around things. Um, JB Boogie, salute. Thank you for joining in. He says there's no realistic trade partners. I disagree. I think there's always the ability to make a trade and make a move. It's really about how, if both teams can agree on it.
Right.
I think we are in a position, and it's gonna sound crazy, and we're gonna elaborate more on it on your show a little bit later. But
Mhm.
I think we can make a move for that 14th pick, and having them trade back, and a lot of people are gonna say, well, why would they do that? Why would they go lower in the draft? Well, number one, the lower the pick, the less money they have to pay the player.
Right.
So I wouldn't be
Right.
surprised if number one, they are willing to not even go lower in the first round, and leave the first round, and,
Mm.
and not have a guaranteed salary.
Right.
Um, they also, I believe, are rumored or want to get off of that Wiggins contract. Um, and we are in a position to absorb it. Um, and again, the big question is going to be why are they going to just give Wiggins away.
Mhm.
He's a piece that can be used in a bigger trade, which is very well possible and true. But if he's traded and the contract is absorbed, I believe they have that trade exception where
Mhm.
now they could absorb that same amount of money
Right.
um, if they do it within a certain amount of time. So that trade exception, if a team was not necessarily high on Wiggins, that trade
Mhm.
exception would become maybe more valuable than
Mhm.
actually trading with Wiggins.
Mhm.
So you know it is possible. It's definitely possible. I know a lot of people aren't high on Wiggins.
Yeah, I was gonna
Um,
ask you. Go ahead.
I mean, I, my thing with him is, and a lot of players, but we're gonna talk about him right now. He's young. He's been in the league 8 years, but he's young,
Mhm.
still young.
Mhm. How old
Um,
is he?
I believe 26 max,
Mhm.
28, but I don't think he's 28. I think he's
Okay.
26. Um, But what I like about him is he's improved, you know, over the course of
Mhm.
his
He has.
career.
He has.
Um, and he's been under scrutiny the whole time. You know,
Mhm.
and all he's done is take the scrutiny and get better.
Right.
It's very similar to Julius Randle and us
Mhm.
bringing him in.
Mhm.
Um, a guy who improved year after year after year. And I don't believe he's reached his peak. Um, Another positive in that is he played under Coach Tibbs.
Mhm.
And Tibbs spoke highly of him. It wasn't like now maybe he did that to trade him. You know, it's possible. Maybe he boosted his value, but Tibbs doesn't seem like that guy to
Right.
say anything that he doesn't believe is true. He'll
Right.
say something nice, but he's gonna word it the right way. He's gonna phrase it the right way. You
Mhm.
know, he's doing
Right.
good
Right.
practice.
Right.
You know
You
what I
could
mean? Like
tell. You could tell when he's
he,
doing that coach speak.
yeah, he's always got good energy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Right. Right. Right.
you know, it's like when you talk. No offense to anyone, but you know when you talk about someone's personality, where
Mhm.
as opposed to how cute they are
Right.
or
Right.
whatever the
Right.
case.
Right.
So
Right.
same thing there. So I do think Golden State is a possibility in a trade.
Mhm.
Um, what say you?
I'm okay with Wiggins. Like you talked about, for those that don't know, the Queen's Court at 8 o'clock. Tony's going to be on, Uncle Fulvio is going to be on, and we're going to do the entire Knicks roster. So all three of us have how we would construct the Knicks team for next season, including free agents, including trades, including rookies. Um, and one thing about Wiggins is when I was trying to put a team together, I found the wing position to be sparse. Like I didn't really see quality wings. I shouldn't say that wings that I really liked. Right, Oubre was out there. I'm not really high on Oubre. He could be ascending. Don't get me wrong. He could be ascending, but he's at that place where is he ascending or is this who he is? We don't know. So Wiggins, I agree with you. He's young. I would love some length at that position. I couldn't find it when I was looking. And he brings that. He's a pretty good. He's a very good, solid defensive player. He can hit the three, and like you said, he's getting better as time goes on. I don't have a problem if we trade for Wiggins. I don't.
And you know what? Everybody talks about everybody talks about you know the off season and the Olympics and the All Star game as those
Mhm,
spark points for conversations of guys joining teams.
mhm.
You know, him and RJ might be having that talk right now.
Yeah,
You know they
yeah.
may be working on their 2 man game right now.
Right now.
Um, so there's that. It's not far fetched. So I do think Golden State is a possible trade up target.
Mhm,
Um, and at 14, Diorte I do like. Um, a lot of people don't like Zaire, but I like Zaire. Um,
I like him, Tony. It's just I just think he's raw. I think he just needs a lot of development, and he's like a boom or bust. If
mhm.
he hits, he gonna hit big, but if he doesn't hit, his floor is pretty low in my opinion. I mean, he could shoot off the dribble. Yeah, he could shoot
I,
off the dribble, but I don't really see a high floor for him
I,
right now.
I don't see when you say right now. That's when I agree with you. Like
Right.
he could have a OBS year, and that may be considered bad, you know. But I
Right.
think career wise, I think his floor is a lot higher than people think. I
I
just
mean, by
think
floor, I mean if he doesn't develop. Like you can look at some of these guys and be like, all right, if they don't develop, at least I know I'm gonna get this. If they don't develop, at least I know I'm gonna get this, and I'm okay with it. With Zaire, if he doesn't develop, his floor is we're not gonna get
yeah,
much. You know what I mean?
I
Except
mean,
for somebody who's athletic. You know?
okay, you're absolutely right, but I mean, you could say that about almost 80% of the draft. You know what I mean? Like based off of what they're able to do day one. If that's the case,
Yeah, yeah. Everybody needs improve.
you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
you have guys that are specialists,
Hmm.
and those are the guys that I think have a higher floor because they already you
Right.
you know, a guy that's a shooter, he's always gonna be a shooter. A guy
Right.
that's a defender is always gonna be a defender.
Right.
Um, so I agree with you in that aspect because he doesn't have that one go to thing or standout thing.
Hmm.
But I wouldn't be drafting him saying this guy we need 12 and 3 and
No.
5. You
No.
know
No.
what I
No.
mean?
No. 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 No.
I wouldn't even
Take
care
time. It's gonna take
if
time.
we gave him a G League spot
Right. Right.
immediately
Right. Right.
and banked on development. So that would be my thinking with him. It
Right.
definitely wouldn't be like rotation right off the bat. If
Right.
it happens, I'll take it.
Right.
Um, and that also he also depends on who's still on that board at at 14 if we
Yeah.
could move that high.
Let me see.
Um,
Um, like I just don't see. I mean, there'll be a lot. Potentially, Pittsburgh can be there. I
I take him
potentially,
over. I
yeah,
take him over.
yeah, potentially. If Jalen Johnson drops, he could be there at 14. Um, I'm trying to pull up the mock draft to get. I don't think I don't think Moody is going to be there at 14.
No, we would have to position. We would have to try to get this that seventh pick
Right,
to get
right,
Moody,
right,
and I don't
right,
know how we could do that. I'll be
right,
I try to be at least realistic in my thinking. But another
right.
reason why that
Giddy could drop. I'm okay with Giddy. I know um a few people aren't high on Giddy, but I'm
Giddy's the
okay
one
with
who
him.
played in Australia, correct?
The 6'8"
Yeah,
point guard.
I really like that kid. Um,
Kai Jones
and
could drop, but go ahead.
one thing no about Giddy, and I mentioned it, last year prior to even really seeing Melo. Well, obviously seeing Lamelo on the NBA floor,
Hmm.
but the kid averaged, I believe, 7 assists also. Um, but the thing about that Euro League is once you bounce that ball, it's no longer an assist.
Right,
So when you average just 7 assists in the Australian League, that translate to me. That translate double digits
right,
easy.
right, right, right,
You know
right,
what I
right,
mean? If you playing NBA rules, so I
right,
think at the very least, like you said, those translated. translatable skills, I think that
Right.
is one that is gonna be there.
Right.
You know,
Right.
right off the back. I like
Yeah.
that kid as
Yeah.
well.
I mean, offensively, I mean, he has the same negatives, that LaMelo had coming out,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
But he could develop a shot, but at the very least, even if he doesn't start, you got somebody who's coming off the bench who could play make for you, get everybody, in their spot. So if Giddy drops, I'm good. I'm good
Yeah.
with that.
100%. Um, a funny thing about that too is like, and I'm not comparing to Ben Simmons, but that's one of those things where Ben Simmons just needs to get it through his head. Or you just have to shoot it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because that's the one thing about this kid. He's not a good. It's one thing if you're not a good shooter.
Right.
You still have to be able to, not scared to take the shot.
Right.
Keep the defense honest,
Yes. Got to be a threat,
as honest as possible.
Right.
You know what I mean? Maybe they sag off, but you got to keep throwing them up there. You know what I mean? Because if you get hot, they're gonna switch up what they're doing.
Right.
But if you don't take a shot, you can't make it.
Correct.
You can't miss it, but you can't
Right.
make it.
Right. Listen,
So,
I'm looking at Sports Illustrated mock draft. They got
mhm.
Moody at 15. So
Oh,
maybe,
oh, oh! I
maybe
li-
if we get that 14th pick,
I like that kid, man. I mean, he's 6'4", I believe. So he don't quite have that Allen Houston height.
no, they got him 6'6".
Oh, 6'6"?
6'6". He's
Okay.
six six with like I think a 7 foot
With
wingspan. So he could
yeah,
play.
but that's the thing. That's
He
seven
could play
foot wing,
bigger than he is.
7 foot wingspan.
Yeah.
So let's see.
They got Trey Murphy going 17. And I like Trey Murphy. So
I
if we
do
stay
too.
put, he may not, you
Be
know,
available.
he
Yeah,
may
I
not.
like him too. If we stay put, I want both Treys. I want Trey Man and Trey Murphy.
Stop
And,
peeking at my roster. You peeking at my roster.
if we stay put, oh
Those are
man.
my picks on my team.
All right.
Yes.
Well, see, I'm with you there. I'm with you. When I said, you know, we need the trades to go against the trade that just beat us.
Right,
You know,
right, right,
tell Atlanta, I see your trade and I raise you one.
right,
You know,
right, right. Exactly.
and what did the Eru say? He said, "Oh yeah, it'll be trade day."
Trade day. Right.
I mean, so it's in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's definitely in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Um, J, BJ. I do like Jared Butler. I like him a lot. I definitely like him a lot. He's not definitely a option for me if we stay put. But back to possibly trading up. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna go through the order real quick. Detroit has the first pick. It's not an option. We don't have anything to get that high up. Houston, no. Cleveland, no.
Hmm.
Um, Toronto, no. Orlando has 5 and 8. Oklahoma has 6 and 16 is their next one. So those are two teams that maybe we could finagle something.
Hmm.
If I started with, I mean, they both kind of in a full rebuild, um, stage,
Hmm.
but maybe Orlando tries to take the route of OKC and collect some draft picks. So maybe something down the line in the future, along with a trade down situation, would be something they're interested in. I don't know, but again, I feel like anything is possible. A lot of people, they don't believe we have what it takes, but I think you never know. It all depends on what the other team wants and and,
Yeah.
and, and what they feel comfortable with. Um, if we could move to, let's say, not 5, if we could move up to 8, is there a target? Have you even scouted that high up
I
in the
have. I
possibility?
have. I
Okay.
have. I have. I have. Um. Now you know possibly Book Knight, who I like. Possibly, we haven't talked about him, but I really like this kid. I like Wagner out of
Mm,
Michigan. I really like him. He's a small forward. I think he could play power forward, but he gets after it on the defensive end as well. And he's top 10. I've seen him consistently marked in the top 10, mostly to Sacramento. So I would be okay with that. Um,
I like
there's
him too.
some this is why I want the Knicks to stay put.
It's risky.
Right, like
It's
Kai
risky.
Jones, Kai
You have
Jones
to
out of
hit.
Texas. He's marked. Sports Illustrated have him marked at 11. Kai Jones is a risky pick, but I mean, at the very least, you're going to get a rim runner, right? That can block shots, alley oops, at the very least. But we have that in Mitch. Um, though I don't know what that contract is gonna look like. Do you want to trade up for Corey Kispert when you could maybe stay put? I don't think Duarte is going to be there. Even Trey Murphy is not going to be there. So you're right. If you want a shooter, one of them shooters, those three are like three of the best shooters in the draft. You may have to trade up for them. So, I would be okay trading up for Kispert, Moody. I would be okay trading up for Giddy. I would be okay trading up for Wagner. Um, I don't and Book Night. I would be okay trading up for
So
them.
let me ask you this: do you trust the coaching staff or the front office um to trade up and make the right decision? Because
I do.
I asked that because a lot of people said we didn't, they applaud us for trading up, but they said we didn't need to get quickly. They said quickly would have been available if we kept our pick.
He
Um,
might have been.
so
But you know
so
what? I think this is the thing.
I remember initially them saying it was questionable. The move itself, the trading, got applauded. The pick when it immediately happened, I remember.
Right.
I forget who said it, but he was questioning. I think that guy would have been there. You know,
But this is the thing. If you like a player, you got to go get him. I remember Gettleman when he was talking about Daniel Jones, the quarterback for the Giants. You don't sit there and say, "Oh, let's see, he might be available." I think they was picking at 15. I want to say that year. If you like somebody, you can't take that chance. You got to go get them. So you can't. If you really like quickly, you can't take the chance that he might be there when we pick the next time. You got to go and get him, and that's what the Knicks did, and it was the right choice. So I do trust them. Um,
do do you move up and still draft with upside potential, or if you're moving, because I think that's why you rather stay with both those picks, because
right,
you're taking a risk that basically you have to hit. You know what I mean? You can't.
right, right.
So is it? Are you okay with a move up and it's still on a upside of the player more than contributing
Yeah, I
immediately?
mean, I think, yeah, I think it's tricky because you could get more NBA on average, more NBA ready players later because of their age and what have you, and people in the lottery don't want to take the chance on them. They're not in line with their trajectory, their timeline. But you can also trade up and get a really good player that can contribute because he's good. you know, um, so I don't know about trading up for a developmental player. Like I'm not that high on Isaiah Jackson. Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't, I don't, I don't even want the Knicks to take him at 19.
19 or 20
Because I just feel like there's so much value in the guard and wing position in this draft. And you could get a big, and
equal in
and
at
I think
32.
so. Yeah, at 32, I love Bassie. That's my, if we could get him, that would be great at 32. So no, I wouldn't want to trade up and get a guy that has upside. I want to trade up and get somebody that can help us because he's that good. I think Moody would be in the rotation if we drafted him. I think Kispert could be in the rotation. I think Giddy could be in the rotation. I think Book Knight could be in the rotation. Kai
Who is
Jones,
who is
maybe.
this? Who
Hmm.
is this kid from the Turkish league? Have you seen his videos?
I have Alperen Sagoon. I think he would be in the rotation as well.
So you would take a chance moving up and
I,
grabbing him?
I would not. I don't
You
think
would
he
not?
fits. I think
Okay.
he's more like a traditional. Listen, I wouldn't take him more so for the fit, but talent wise, he would be in the rotation. I mean, it's just that as good as he is offensively, is probably as bad as he is defensively. You know, but this is somebody who could score in the post. This is somebody who could play make out of the post. This is somebody that's what 18, 19 years old. He has a really good feel for the game. This guy can play.
I take him.
You know,
I
but
take him.
defensively, I just feel like
I
you know
take
how I
him.
feel about guys that can switch out and play on the perimeter for a second or two at least till we can recover,
I
right?
take him knowing that he's not going to be our starter, knowing that
Right,
we don't have a player that plays inside, whether
right,
he's big or
right,
I mean Randall's capable, but that's
right.
one of the things I want to see more of.
Hmm.
I love the 3-point shooting. I love you got to have that in your arsenal, but I
Right,
also want him to do some more bully ball and
right,
dominate down there a little bit more,
right, right,
especially if we're not going to get it from the center position.
right,
It has to be in the arsenal. So
right,
that change of direction or change of
right.
that one guy that does something that no one else on our team does, I do it. And the fact that he's 18,
He would be in our rotation, no doubt
oh
about it.
man,
He would
we,
be in the rotation.
we have him for
This
years and
guy can
years to
play.
come.
This guy can play.
I really like that kid. Um,
And
so
of course I like Usman if we stay put. But yeah. But I wouldn't take him over shooters though.
okay.
I wouldn't like, but if they were all gone, like Duarte is gone, Mann is gone, Cooper is gone, Murphy is gone, um,
So
they're all gone.
if we get one of those guys at 19 and he's there at 21, you want to go that route? Yeah,
I would this
I know you love that dude. I ain't going to front.
he gonna
Like
change the game defensively. I really, and if he could ever get like a little Charles Oakley shot, it's a wrap.
the only thing I'm afraid of, and maybe I shouldn't be because he played professional,
Mhm.
but I'm afraid of foul trouble for some reason because I feel like he's literally gonna go after everything. You know,
Right,
like
right. I think he's somewhat disciplined though. His ability to move his feet on the perimeter.
yeah.
This guy.
I wouldn't be mad. I would not
Yeah.
be mad. So where we at? Orlando, we just said excuse me. OKC, I mean they're trying to move up. I don't see them making a move to move down.
What about the Magic? Do you think they would be open to trading one of those picks? I don't think we have anything they like
I,
like maybe Knox because they want some young players, but I
mm-hmm.
guess they figured we could get that at number 8.
Yeah, yeah, he hasn't really shown enough unless they
Right,
just
right,
basing it off his his rookie season.
right.
I think and they're not strapped for cash, but if maybe they were trying to move a vet or somebody that like that's the only other way, like all right, we'll move down, we'll move a vet and get get a younger guy and a another pick. So
You know who we didn't talk about?
who's that?
If we were able to get into the 14, what was it? Was 14 and there was another spot you were saying 10?
Well, 10 is out the question because Woj dropped his Woj bomb
Okay, about the trade.
and
Davion
Bledsoe.
Mitchell, is a possibility at at 14.
I tell you what, another nice scenario if we did somehow move up and still had one of those other two picks,
Hmm.
and we got Mitchell and Butler.
Mm. Both of them?
Like, I mean, if we use 19 somehow and whatever combination and that got it done, or even my proposed trade with Wiggins and moved up to 14. I
Hmm.
don't know if Davion would drop that low, but
They
it's
have him at
possible.
13.
Oh, it's
Um,
what?
um, I mean, one of the things I will say, just looking at the mocks, because I pretty much every 2 days I go through like 10 mock drafts to see what
Mm,
people are saying. The
it
the
fluctuates.
It fluctuates. Now, what I have noticed is Duarte is up. He was like in the 20s. Um, Trey Murphy was like 26,
Yeah, I
27. Now
know.
they both of them they moved into the top 20. It's a shooters league, right? Um, and I've noticed Cooper, Trey Mann dropping a little bit.
Do you think there's a you like because I know you like man as well. You think man is significantly better than Zaire?
I think right now his floor. I think you're gonna get more out of him right now than you would get out of Zaire. Um, Years from now, I think that Zaire Williams' ceiling is probably higher, right?
Okay.
But right now, Trey Man, you're gonna get more out of, in my opinion.
Because a lot of people put man in that boom or bust category, and I mean I don't know. I like the kid. I don't really see bust anywhere in his game in his
Me
game.
either.
That that kid get buckets.
Yeah, yeah. You know who I like?
Sacramento. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No. Who do you like? We good.
I like Cooper, man. I mean, when I did my guard pick, I picked Trey Man over him because I just feel like Trey Man right now is a better shooter. He has a better float game. But if Cooper ever shoots, and they said that he's actually a better shooter than he showed last year. If he can ever get that down, it's a wrap. This guy, he has a great feel for the game. He can get into the lane anytime he want. He could play that pick and roll. He can make every pass off of the pick and roll as well. He's good. He averaged 8.1 assists a game.
Hmm.
But you might be able to make every pass off the pick and roll, but if you can't hit that shot, you're not keeping people honest, right? So they're gonna start taking away, different options. I know they say he's short, but there's been undersized guys who've played well in this league. I think defensively he will be a liability, but this is not the 90s. In the 90s, they would take advantage of the weak league on defense. They would just keep going at that person, play after play after play until the other team make an adjustment. Now they don't do they don't take advantage of poor defensive players the way they used to. So he may be okay in that regard.
I'll tell you what. If I was still high, if I was still high on the possibility or the option of pursuing Chris Paul, I would 100% want Cooper to
Hmm.
play behind him, and I mean
Yes.
they already have a connection through
Hmm.
through the AAU, Chris Paul's AAU team,
Hmm.
but I mean there's no guy better to learn from as far as being undersized and
Right.
and, and being a top assist guy and finding your spots. And I mean I think if we were still possibly going that route of getting Chris Paul,
Mm.
I would. I mean, I still might. I wouldn't be mad at Cooper either way. But
Right.
oh man, if he could play behind Paul and just get 2, 2, 3 years of his,
Hmm.
on the court
Right.
training and
Right.
coaching. Oh man, I used to I fluctuate with him as well, but I keep talking myself into this kid averaged 20 points. So even if he couldn't shoot, and they say his height prevents him from being a great finisher, he had to do it somewhere. So half of that in the NBA, I would be satisfied with coming into your rookie year. So
Yep.
I definitely I don't mind him either. And I agree with you too about I'm very comfortable with 19 and 20 because I think I think you have less chances of making a mistake, to be
Right, right,
honest.
right, right,
You
right,
know,
right, right,
and,
right.
and and drafts are usually deeper than they appear to be.
Yeah.
Um, some of the guys we brought in last year in the front office, that was supposed to be their bread and butter.
Hmm.
Picking in the middle of the picking well in the middle of
Right,
the
right,
draft. So I'm not opposed to keeping those picks and letting them, letting us get our money's worth from our
right.
coach, our front office.
And if we do trade up, we got to keep 32. You could find somebody really good at that position.
I mean, we we could maybe use 32 and 19, 32 and 21. So
Hmm.
if that's the case, depending on how high we're moving, I'm with that. The next team, just going down the line, Sacramento. Um, I don't think we have a piece that would be warranted for them to maybe again taking on a contract, taking on
Right.
what's the shooter's name?
On their team,
Yeah,
Hill, Buddy Hill.
Hill, Buddy Hill, maybe taking him on. They do the swap and take 19 or 21 and give up 9. Charlotte also has 11. San Antonio's probably not doing anything. Golden or Indiana's
Now,
probably
San
not doing anything.
Antonio was looking, I heard, to move off to that White, if I'm not mistaken. White and DeJounte Murray could be had. So,
I mean, I don't think they doing Murray and the pick, and if they are,
yeah.
we definitely gonna have to put RJ in there. Like they're not, that's a savvy organization. We not fleecing them in
Nah,
any way.
I don't think you gotta put RJ in a trade for Murray in the 12.
You don't think so? What do you think? What?
No.
All right, hypothetically, because this is interesting. Because
I just don't think I like
I
Murray
like
too.
Murray.
I love Murray.
You know what I
I
mean?
don't think we have San Antonio type players. I don't think we have players that they would value.
Well, but that's why I think RJ's the only guy that they
Right.
can look at and
But
be
I think
like,
that would be too high for Murray in the 12th pick. You don't think?
um. I mean, I'm not willing to do it, but
Mhm.
if it's not a swap and we're getting the 12th and Murray, I don't think that's too high. Honestly,
Think that's fair? Wow.
I think that's fair. I mean, I'm a RJ guy,
Mhm.
but I mean, Murray has shown what he could do in this league, um, with his flaws. But
Mhm.
the guy plays defense. He penetrates. I,
He
I
has
I
good
think
size and length.
his size and length, defense. I don't even think his shooting is horrible.
Right.
Um, like I don't understand why they want to move on from him.
Yeah, I don't understand that too,
Like
but I did hear that.
I mean, I definitely heard it too. I just I don't think I think I spoke on it like in the chat a few times. Like, yeah, I like that kid, but
Yeah.
I think they're willing to move him for maybe a little bit older established player
Mhm.
because at this point I think
But they may want to go young. Look, they're gonna lose DeRozan. They're gonna is he the only one?
no, well they already got Aldridge obviously retired, but they
Right,
moved him first.
right.
But I think the opposite is because they're losing their vets. I think they want some vets in there to help
Mhm.
the culture. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Like I don't know if San Antonio they put like this. They haven't rebuilt
Mhm.
in 20 years. You know, I don't even know if they know how to rebuild. You know what I mean? Like they
Mhm.
or especially or how to rebuild young.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't know if they necessarily want to go young. Um Pop's still there, right? Like we haven't got any
Yeah, for
word
now.
word on hit. Like when Pop leave, that's when I'll be like, all right,
Mhm.
they ready to go young and you know what I mean. But with
Right,
Pop there, I think he's gonna want some kind of veteran presence, and they've never been known to be the
right,
free agent destination. So I think the only way to get these veteran guys is to trade for them.
right.
with that particular team. But yeah, I'd make a move for him if it didn't include RJ. I take whomever you want.
Right, right, right.
Well, like I
Yeah, I
do
like
Obi,
Murray. I really like,
I do Obi and quickly for Murray right now.
and I like. I'm higher on quickly than I am on Obi, but yeah, yeah,
I do that right now.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, where we at? 16 or 15? Washington. I don't think we have anything they want. I don't know if they have. I mean, they're probably over the cap this year,
Hmm.
so it may be a situation where they want to get under, and we could help them out that way. Maybe a Beltran, which I think I think I would be in for that, taking on his contract and getting the 15th pick. Anything that doesn't include a swap, I think I consider a whole lot more. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? But even swapping 15 to 19, it's that target range again. Go
Right,
get the guy you want. So I do it.
right. I mean, that's not that many. That's You're not going up that far. So that would probably be you really want somebody, but you don't think they're gonna drop. So you move up those few spots to get them.
I mean, my logic is it only take one spot. Like look what happened with Curry. You know
Yeah,
what I
that's
mean? It only take one spot,
that's
one
true.
person to be in between you and the guy you want. That that's gonna
Right,
change your franchise.
right,
So
right, right,
hey, if the guy you want is there at 15 and you don't think he'll be there 4 picks, or even if you're just not sure, you might want to do it.
right.
And if it's taking on a guy like Beltran, who I think a lot of us were interested in free agency,
Mhm.
he definitely got overpaid, but he's still gonna fill a role and a void um
On
on
the
his
team.
team.
Yeah, yeah.
So I definitely consider that. Uh Memphis, I don't think they're doing anything. And then at that point it's OKC and us, and
Right, right.
unless you think it's that Curry
Memphis is in
situation.
10 now, right? Memphis traded into
Oh,
the
yes,
into the 10th
yes,
spot.
yes, that is correct. Um, yeah, but I think they probably did that with somebody in mind, right?
They probably did it with somebody in mind. Memphis, if I had to guess, probably be Moody or Book
Mm,
Knight if he drops.
mm. Wow, both those guys would fit in like too good with them too. All right, well, I mean that's the move up section segment. Unless you think we can move up from 32 somehow, which is a possibility. Interesting. I mean, I'll be honest. I heard it on Knicks Film School, but just moving up one pick that could help the Utah Jazz. Going from 31 to 32, us going up into the first round, where
Hmm.
it's a guaranteed contract as opposed to a non-guaranteed contract.
Right,
Um, maybe see the way they worded it was we would be doing cash consideration, but me personally, I feel like give us the asset, like
right,
we're helping your cap situation. You know what I
right,
mean? Like,
right, right,
like we could wait
right,
one pick.
right, 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 right,
You know
right.
what I mean? But so yeah, if we could get something from them for letting them get that first pick in the second round as
Hmm.
opposed to the last of the first, I definitely consider that. But other than that, I don't really see any. I don't see too many other move up options.
I mean, I just feel like even if you move up, say you got Moody. I talked about this early in the show. Are you sure Moody is going to be a better player than Duarte, than Trey Mann, than Keon Johnson, than Trey Murphy?
Hmm.
You don't really know. Like, so
You
you
don't.
kind of like, I think if you're going to trade up, you're trading up because You think this guy's going to be better, or they feel a specific need? Like you could really see, like when Boston took Brown at 3 that year. I was like, Brown, they took Brown, but they saw how he would fit and they went and they got their guy. So in a situation like that, yes, if you know that there's somebody and you can see what his role is going to be, he would fit like a glove, then yeah, you do it. Other than that, I just think I don't see a lot of separation.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think if you do move up, it's one of two things. It's the shooter, like the guaranteed shooter
Right,
that you want, or it's really about upside,
right,
and it's not about um necessarily uh contributing immediately.
right.
So yeah, it's a risk. It's definitely a risk. Um, I like the two spots that we're in. But
I do
I
too.
figure it's been a lot of chatter about the Knicks are trying to move up, and I haven't touched on it personally. So I'm like,
Right, right.
let me get some of this talk
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
See if I could use my GM brain and come up with some scenarios. So we
yeah.
got like a 30 minutes. I'm gonna do about 15 more minutes. So I know you're gonna prepare for your show. Let's talk about these Olympics.
Yes.
um, we lost to France. We lost two exhibitions prior to. Um, I don't I don't know if we've lost three games
Mm,
in the Olympics since the Dream Team. I know we lost two, but those are two real games.
right.
But I don't know, even the combination with the exhibitions and the real game. I don't think we've lost three, and we have now. And I have a take on why. I have a take on what it would take to fix it. But I want to hear your thoughts on it first.
I mean, I'm not that surprised. I think that, international competition, especially on those better teams, is really good. Those players are really good. And I don't think that you could go into the Olympics anymore with a B team and be favorites. I'm not saying you can't win, but you gotta I think that any team the United States puts together, even if they put their best players together, the system is such that you know they don't really play together a lot on the same team. They don't really have that chemistry. It's not like they're playing in. It's the World Cup and the Olympics. It's not like in between those teams are playing. Those players are playing with each other, right? So I think they're going to always be chemistry issues with
Hmm.
USA basketball. I think that's what it is. But I think that sometimes when you have the best of the best, chemistry doesn't even matter. You're just so good that you could create chemistry on this, or it doesn't even matter because the talent is just so over the top. So I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make it to the medal round. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't win the gold. I mean, and no disrespect to JaVale McGee, he's on my roster for next season, But look at the roster that the USA team has. Yeah, they do have some good players. Even Durant, some great players. But again, you just throwing people to players together for like 2 weeks, exhibition games. It's going to take longer to get it together. And even if they're still more talented, player for player wise, than these other teams, their chemistry and the other things that they have kind of makes up for it. So I'm not surprised, and I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't win um the gold or even medaled. I wouldn't be well, they should medal, but if they didn't win the gold, I wouldn't be surprised.
So one of my takes is exactly what you said about. Excuse me, it's been a long day, like a real long day. Um, one of the things that you said was the chemistry thing, and I think that was going to be one of my points.
Hmm.
I think a lot of the other teams, the um the other teams, they definitely have more time together.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of them do play with each other outside of the Olympics.
Mhm.
Um, More practice time and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
So I do think that is a big factor. I think chemistry can beat talent.
Yes.
A lot of the times, I'm not gonna give a percentage, but I think chemistry is just as important, and it may
Mhm.
actually, I think chemistry is more important than talent. You don't have to be the group of the most talented guys, but if you guys play the right way, play together, have chemistry, have synergy, cerebral things, you could beat a more talented team. Um, but I also I think part of the reason they lost more than the chemistry issues is just a pecking order.
Mhm.
And I think I said it when they lost the first exhibition and the second exhibition. They're not playing with a pecking order. There's everybody, nobody's taking the lead. You got a bunch of alphas. It's not like they're
Mhm.
playing selfish,
Mhm.
because that's not the issue.
Right.
The problem is they don't know whose role is what. Everybody's used to playing the same role on that on that team.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? So either one or two things could happen, or one of three things could happen. Um, they could either all be selfish, which I don't think is the case,
Mhm.
or they could all be trying to share the ball and
Mhm.
being too unselfish. And I think it's more of that, more of them being unselfish.
Right.
Um, I mean, if I was Durant, I'd sit these guys down and say, "Listen, I'm gonna be the guy." Like, I mean, and if it's not him, somebody has to do it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Somebody, they need defined roles
Mhm.
that they're not accustomed to having.
Right. Right.
Um, Even with that dream team, excuse me, even with the dream team, yeah, it was the dream team, but there was alphas on the team that the
Mhm.
rest of the team knew.
Right.
Hey,
Right. Right. Right.
he's an
Right.
alpha.
Right. Right. Right.
You know what I mean? We're all alphas, but people took their roles, and the rest of everybody else just fell in line.
Mhm.
So I think that's the main. To me personally, I think that's the main issue. Somebody needs to step up, and I don't even think it's the coach's decision at this point. I think that one of these players, Durant, namely, but it don't have to be, needs to say, "Listen, we're gonna run through me, and I'm gonna find you. And when I find you, you don't try to find him. You know, if I give you the ball, that means it's your go. It's your turn. You know what I mean? It's on you." Because I feel like they lollygagging, they trying to make the right play all the time. That's great in the NBA season, in the NBA
Mhm.
game,
Mhm.
but this
Mhm.
ain't the NBA game.
Right.
And you guys don't have that chemistry together. You have to dominate, but you have
Right.
to dominate in your roles. So
Right.
I think that's the main issue with them. Like, nobody's taking charge and saying, "This is my team.
Mhm.
I've been here before. I know how to do this."
Right.
Um, and even in years past, you've seen that it was a passing of the torch every 4 years.
Mhm.
Certain guys that returned, they got closer to leading a more of a leading role.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I don't see that this year, and it is pretty sad because I don't I've said it myself that the world is catching up, but I also think that's a cop out, and I don't know, man. This is embarrassing.
You
Per,
think so?
per, Personally, I do, because yes, the world is catching up, but they haven't caught up. Like some of these teams we lost to,
Mhm.
it shouldn't. You know what I mean? There's certain teams that we could have lost to, and I would have understood it. I would have taken it with a more of a
Right.
grain of salt.
Right.
But you know, nah, I think it's embarrassing. And if somebody doesn't step up and say, "I'm gonna carry us to this to a medal," I don't know which one.
Hmm.
um, they might not even get a medal,
Right. Yeah, they may
and
not.
that would be embarrassing.
But I don't think this is the best team though. I don't think you could just send any NBA player there and be like, just because they played in the NBA, we should win. Like I think you gotta send. I don't think you have to have your 12 best players in the league, right? You do need some specialists. You do need to create a team. But yeah, I think your top 6, 7, 8 players. Um, if you want to have a chance, you're gonna have to send your top um, players. I think if you're just sending to get top 2 or 3, and you're filling out the rest of it with like rotation players, then you're gonna need chemistry, right? Because the talent is not there. You're gonna need not that those guys aren't talented, but
What would you what would you think would be a long term solution? All right, hold that question because I do want you to answer that. But matter of fact, good. Answer that. What would you think would be a long term solution to
I think
to to this?
I think you sign players to separate contracts for the Olympic team. Separate contracts that they have to commit, sign a contract, they get a separate salary to play on the Olympic team. That's it. You know, but the difference is I would maybe a more NFL type salary structure because you want to be able to get off of a contract. Like say you lock LeBron in for 8 years at whatever many millions you're going to pay him, and he's injured and he doesn't really fit anymore. Um, well, I guess you could cut him and still pay him. They making enough money.
They
They making
definitely are.
enough money.
They
Just
definitely
cut
are.
him, pay him, and then bring
Yeah,
somebody else.
and
Um,
we're not talking about NBA salary money for the 8 years, obviously, because it's not a full season and all
right,
that. So
right,
it's a
right,
lump sum for 8 years.
right,
And you still playing for the honor of playing for the Olympics.
right.
That's I mean that's not a bad take. I got two. So one, what do you think about now? Granted, they would have to structure it for it to work, but uh every 4 years the eventual NBA champion or one of the champions from the 4 years previous plays as the Olympic team. Play represents
Do that too.
America.
Yeah,
Um
do that too.
I, I think that that could work. Obviously you're gonna lose some players to their respective international teams
Right, right,
and think or maybe they feel comfortable playing for the US um their US team. But I think that something like that could work. I also think I and you're not going to agree with me because of one of your previous takes.
hmm
Because I don't think we need the best players in the league to win. I really don't. I'm
but
gonna
you're gonna
take
have
it.
to have some chemistry. You're gonna have to have some sort of way that they're together. If you don't have your
I
best players, that's what I'm
I
saying.
all right. I agree because I was
Yeah.
gonna take it a step further and say I don't think we necessarily have to have NBA players. Like I, I think we
That's
I think we could
college.
I think I'm saying a combination, not just college, not just NBA, not I think there's some retired players that could play on the Olympic team and we could still win. I really believe that. But like you said, it's gonna have to take a commitment. So now when you
Right.
talk about signing these guys for 4 to 8 years at a time,
Hmm.
now these guys are gonna have to make obligations to this. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like these guys are gonna have to. It's gonna have to be more time for chemistry, more time for
Right.
team development, team, even structured games,
Mhm.
exhibition games, not necessarily overseas against overseas talent. They could play against NBA talent or
Right.
college talent,
Right.
but knowing that this is our Olympic team. This is the people who are representing America,
Right.
and because I think that's how you fix the chemistry part.
Right.
They let them develop chemistry. Stop just giving
Right.
these guys a week and 10 days and 7 days to prepare to
Right.
go join teammates that they never played with before
Right.
or rarely played with before.
Right.
So, I,
I
but that's
agree.
why I say it does. I don't think it needs to be NBA players, and I definitely don't think it has to be the best of the best. But I think it has to be the chemistry needs to be built and
Right.
built, for a period of time where you know. But yeah, I mean that's my small take on Olympics. Um, I don't like. I'm not giving them a pass. That's all I'm saying. Like
Right.
the way some of our other USA teams got ridiculed, they're not getting that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? The mellow team that
Right.
you know what I mean? I'm not hearing that same energy. Now I'm hearing, oh, the world is caught up. They were saying that then too. You know what I mean? They was getting better then too.
But I think
Oh,
that was a better team though.
I mean, it was. It definitely was. But I'm not gonna use that as an excuse either.
Mhm.
The guys came, they signed up, they here to play. We got Kevin Durant on that team. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? We got some of the best, arguably the best of the best. You know what I mean? Like I'm not hearing no Kevin Durant slander or on that aspect.
Right.
And maybe that's
Right.
because
Right.
it's
Right.
it's because it's Kevin Durant. They know he bites back or barks
Mhm.
back. Melo was an easy target. But again, I just want that same energy
Right. Right. Right.
reciprocated when it comes around. Because right now they playing worse by far. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
Even though those Melo that Melo team, we were losing by a smaller margin. Not saying we getting blown out now. It's still close, but
Mhm.
it looked worse to me now than then.
Then yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that's my take. I'm gonna let you go. I'll see you in a few minutes.
Alrighty.
And I appreciate everybody joining us. Knicks and Bruises, Joe Black is time. Queen Steph, Queen's Court coming up next. Salute.